Hi guys, welcome back to 30 Days to Your First Website Design, a Tuts Plus premium course. I'm Ian Yates, and today we're going to forget about theory for a bit and just concentrate on getting our slideshow up and running. We'll begin as always by taking a quick look at what we're going to cover in this video. Firstly, we're going to head on over to jQuery.com and grab the all-important jQuery library. Then we're going to head over to Mike Alsop's site and grab his fantastic jQuery cycle plugin. Then we're going to come back to our own website and hook it up. Before we tackle the next video in the series, we'll look at some additional reading and then an assignment. Okay, so we may as well just dive straight into this. If I exit the presentation, you'll see I have jQuery.com waiting for me in the browser window here. And here you can grab the source code straight away from this nice big call to action button there. And we can save that. Alternatively, we can go and check out some of their own CDN hosted versions. The advantage of using this being that we free up some of the HTTP requests that we'll be making from our website. If you remember back to me saying how you can get a bottleneck because of the amount of requests that can happen simultaneously. So by grabbing it from an external server, we can do that simultaneously while we're busy pulling all our own resources off our own web server. So we'll make a note of this location here. Then secondly, we're going to need to go and grab the jQuery cycle plugin from Mike Alsop's site. This is it. There are a ton of examples here. Mike's done all the hard work for us. We're going to be using an example such as on this intermediate page because we need this pager effect here. You can see this is a similar snippet to the one we'll be using. He has determined a target element where his pager links are going to be injected. So we're going to download that cycle plugin. It comes in light and full versions. The full version isn't particularly heavy anyway, so we're just going to grab that and pump it into our downloads folder there. And you can see that's already complete. Now we'll get rid of that for the time being, and we will go back to our project. Here it is. Let's first of all grab cycle plugin. We'll put that directly into our JavaScript folder, and then let's move to our index.html. And if we remind ourselves how that was looking by bringing up the browser, you can see that the styling for this upper area is all complete. This is going to be an example of a slide, and we have here these navigation links waiting to just be hooked up. Now in order to have slides, we're going to actually need some slides with content as well. So let's just look in our index.html here. We're going to need a number of these slides here within our testimonial div there. That's the container which is going to be holding all our slides. Now we're going to define this container in our little initiation code. What it's going to do is treat each of its child elements as a slide. I can instantly see that there's a mistake here because it's going to treat this div, our slide nav, as one of its child elements, and it's going to treat it like a slide, and we don't want that because this is supposed to be outside of our actual slideshow. So now let's pump in a load more slides. I've prepared some which I can just copy and paste in just to speed things up as usual. So if I copy those, and let's see, where are we? We'll put a new slide underneath our first one here. So there we go, that's 4 slides, all of which are sitting in our testimonial container there. Let's just Command and S save that, and then we'll preview it by refreshing the page. So there you can see we have 4 nice testimonial quotes. Very nice. Obviously we don't want it to display like this though, that's a bit of a mess. And once the jQuery plugin kicks in, it's going to be just displaying these one at a time and cycling through them. Now the problem is we're going to be adding our code, our JavaScript, to the bottom of our page. The reason we do this is that it has to load. Our page loads from the top all the way down to the bottom, and if we put it into our head, none of this will load until our JavaScript has loaded. Now we don't actually need any of our JavaScript until all this content and all its associated styling is dealt with, so that's a little bit wasteful. We're going to be presenting our users with just a blank screen, even if it's just for a microsecond, while everything's loading. So we're better off loading all the content and then loading our JavaScript. That does mean that for however briefly, they're going to be presented with this before our JavaScript kicked in. So it's a good idea now. Let me just zoom out so we can see it. I'm going to make a screenshot of this just to demonstrate what we're going to be doing. If I just grab that like so, and then I'm going to open that up in Photoshop. What we need to do is grab our testimonial container element, and we're going to define its dimensions properly, like so. We're going to give it a fixed height, and then we're going to apply the CSS rule overflow hidden, which means that anything within that div which flows beyond its boundaries is going to be hidden. So we're actually going to be sort of creating a sort of window effect here. We're going to be hiding all these additional slides from view as soon as the page is loaded, so that will neaten things up. So let's go straight into our CSS. If I jump into Coda there we go. Now in our testimonial section, we're just going to apply that to our testimonial. That was our container element. We're going to give it a height of 200 pixels, and as I've said, we're going to give it overflow property of hidden. Now saving that, jumping back into here, I reset the zoom, I'm going to reset the page, and now you can see it's only displaying the first of those divs. The others are all hidden from view, so that's much neater. Now let's concentrate on actually getting this code into our page. As I've said, we're going to be introducing the jQuery and the cycle plugin to the bottom of our page. So let me just grab those and pump those in just before the closing body tag. This is where our jQuery is going to go. So if I recall, it was on the Google server. I'm going to paste that in like so. Once that's loaded, we can then load our plugin, which is in our JavaScript folder. So if I just put in a relative path to that, that's going to load those two up, and then we just need to instantiate everything. So we're going to hook it up. There we go. We're going to need some more script tags in that case. Again, of type text JavaScript. And now this is where we're going to place our code to instantiate the whole lot. Now we're going to kick off with the ready event method. Now what this does is it houses all the code that we're going to use to get our plugin working. There it is. Okay. Everything we're going to use is going to sit within this ready method. It basically waits until all our documents has finished loading before it allows anything within it to be executed. Now, as all our JavaScript requires all the contents, such as all the slideshow elements and its appropriate styling, it needs those to be all ready and waiting before it kicks in. So that just prevents any hiccups there. So having done that, we now need to add our actual instantiation code. Let me just copy and paste that in there as well. Okay, there it is. Let's just comment that so that we can remember what we're doing here. This was the cycle plugin. Okay, and as you can see, we're targeting the testimonial div, the class of testimonial, and we're applying the cycle method to it. And here we are adding a couple of options to that method, which overwrite the default options that come with the cycle plugin. We're assigning an effect of fade. That's very straightforward. It could be any one of a number of animations with various easing levels and all sorts of things. We're going to keep it simple with just a fade there. And we want our pager, all those paging links, to be injected into our slide nav div. So if we go back up to our slide nav div, you can see it here. So all these links that we manually put in, we don't actually need anymore. Okay, so there, that's neatened that up. There it is. Okay, so it's as simple as that. We've called a jQuery, we've called the plugin, and we've instantiated it here. So now if I save that, and I go back to our browser window to reset, we can see there's a little bit of a hiccup on the layout there, but aside from that, you'll see it's cycling through all those slides which we put in our markup, and these links work exactly as they should be doing as well. Now the reason this is here is, I imagine, because there is a default width to the slides. This was positioned absolutely, if you remember, so it's obviously not wide enough, its parent element. So we'll go back to our CSS, and its parent was of course slide, so I'm just going to make that the same width as the wrapper container. So I'll save that and reset it. Okay, and you see that's positioned it properly again on the right hand side. So there you go, that serves our purposes perfectly well. We have our slideshow, we have our testimonials, and it all works very neatly. Okay, it's time as usual for some further reading, so I'm going to jump into the presentation once again. There we go. Now this is a series by Jeffrey Way, who knows a thing or two about jQuery, for absolute beginners. If you need clarification about downloading, implementing and using jQuery, this series is well worth a look. Now before we jump into the next video, I'd like you to practice what we've just done and implement the Mulsup jQuery cycle plugin. Next time on 30 Days to Your First Website Design, we're going to look at the last bit of our jQuery behavior by styling our form and applying some validation. I'm Ian Yates, and from all of us here at TutsPlus, thanks for watching.